Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. My name is Saad Khan. I am a lecturer at Department of Technology, SUIT. The course that has been assigned to me is Introduction to Computer Fundamentals with the course code as CS102. So let's start our first lecture, that is the basic terminologies of a computer. What are the key points? What are the basic things inside a computer? We are going to start with this. So the very first thing comes to our mind by hearing the word what is a computer. There can be many definitions about it. Many books claim a computer is an electronic device which gives us the output by processing some sort of an input. But the main key definition is a computer is a programmable machine with two principal characteristics. It responds to a specific set of instructions in a well-defined manner. It can execute a pre-recorded list of instructions that is called as a program. Now, the thing is specific set of instructions in a well-defined manner. Specific instructions means that it cannot think on its own, though it performs the process on the given set of instructions that are given by us, that is the user. We give instructions to the computer and the computer responds to our instructions by processing on it. It can execute a pre-recorded list of instructions. Pre-recorded list of instructions that, for example, if I give a computer several instructions sequence wise, that is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has to execute in the defined order. For example, if I call a student A and request him to bring a board marker, this is going to be the first instruction. Then I give him the second instruction to clean the board, whiteboard. This is the second instruction. Third instruction I can give it that write your name and your personal details. So this is an example of a pre-recorded list of instructions in general life. We are going to discuss all of them in later. The modern computers are electronic and digital. They can be described in terms of their hardware and software. Now comes the point, what is a hardware? Hardware refers to the objects that you can actually touch, like disks, disk drives, display screens, keyboards, printers, boards and chips, etc. The list goes on. Basically, we call those things as the hardware which are present in physically, which we can touch. Those things are called as the hardware. These things require to make the computer run smoothly. For example, if we don't have a keyboard attached to a computer, we cannot write instructions to the computer. Similarly, if we are not having a printer, then we are unable to make a hard form or a print of a document which is inside our computer. If we don't have a display screen, then we are unable to see what is going on in the computer. So hardware is those devices that we can actually touch, we can see them. Now coming towards the next thing, that is a software. Software is a thing that is we cannot touch it. It is a set of instructions that tells a computer what to do. A computer works according to the given instruction. So for example, if we click on Microsoft Office and there are several packages inside it. If we click on Microsoft Office and then go towards the Microsoft Word, then it will only open Microsoft Word, not PowerPoint, not Excel, not Access. So because we have clicked upon that Microsoft Word. Now in Microsoft Word there are many shortcut keys as well, and in PowerPoint as well. To increase the font size, to make the text bold, by making Ctrl B is the shortcut key. When we click on it, it will make the text bold. without making any of the text to italic or something else, because we have provided the instructions inside the software. Then when these two keys are pressed, the desired output, what is it is going to be. So the next thing is called as a program. What is a program? A computer program is a collection of instructions that performs a specific task when executed by a computer. A computer requires programs to function. Now, what is a program? Is a collection of instructions that performs a specific task. Collection of instructions, we can mean it by when we have given multiple operations, multiple tasks to a computer. It will perform all of those tasks in the predefined order that we have given it to the computer. Data. The next terminology that we are going to use is called as the data. A collection of raw facts and figures is called as data. Now, what does the word raw means here? The word raw means that the facts have not yet been processed to get the exact meaning. The facts have not yet been processed to get the exact meaning. For example, if I write a letter A, it will only give me that it is an alphabetic letter. If I write as it with 13, then it becomes a numeric data I have written. But if I write it before that, house number A13, street number this, then this data has been processed and it is giving me some meaning. Okay, the next point is data is collected from different sources. Data may consist of numbers, characters, symbols, or pictures. Now we are going to explain the types of data here. There are different types of data. The very first is the alphabetic data. It consists of letters from A to Z, capital, or from A to Z, small letters. Examples can be name of a person, name of a place, name of a thing, name of a country, name of a city, etc., etc. Any such thing that can provide us with some information. Now, the next type is numeric data. It consists of digits, that is from 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the last one is 9. Or the combination of these digits, that is can be a number like 105, 1020, anything. The third type, that is called as the alphanumeric data. It consists of alphabetic letters as well as numeric digits. Street number A10, house number this, city Peshawar. So this comes in the alphanumeric data type. The fourth one is called as the graphical data. It can consist of tables, charts, graphics, and statements. Now, tables. How can tables be used to represent some sort of data? Tables, charts, graphics, and statements. So, we all have seen a cricket match. In a cricket match, we see a round graph type in which a batsman has scored how many shots on which side of the ground, towards the left side, towards the down side, towards the right side, any side. So it shows us the number of shots being played or the number of scores he has played. So that is called as a pie chart data. It is an example of a graphical data. Audio data, it consists of only sounds. For example, the radio news. We are unable to know that who is the person behind. We cannot see that whose voice is coming. Video data, it consists of photos, image, or moving pictures such as TV news. Now, in video data, we can have the voice or not. This is the question that I am going to leave it for you. You have to answer me in the next lecture, and I will be explaining it to you. The last type is called as the mixed data. It consists of more than one types, such as a combination of audio and video. That when news is being played on the TV, when we are watching some movie, when we are watching some documentary, there is a video being played at the front and we can see it on the screen. Along with the side, the voice is also coming. So this is called as the mixed data. The next important terminology is information. Now what is information? We have studied a while ago that data is the collection of raw facts and figures. But when we process that data, it is called as information. Information is that we have some raw data, we process it, and we get some meaningful desired information from that is called as information. Information is an organized and processed from the data. We have a data, we get some processing done over there, and then we get our desired information. Now, data is used as input for the processing, and information is the output of this processing. These two terms are quite important, that what is a data and what is information. So keep this in mind. Data is the collection of facts, raw facts and figures. They have not yet been processed. They can give us some meaning, but not a quite actual meaning. But information, on the other hand, is the processed form of data which gives us some specific meaning. It's called as information. So this is what information life cycle looks like. An important diagram. Input, we give some input to the computer, it makes some processing done over there. Then we have two options, whether to show it on the output screen. In output screen, it can be in some print form, it can be in some video form, it can be some audio form. Several forms can be in the form of output. Or the other side is storage. We want to store our data. The next thing is the communication cycle, the last thing. For example, if I give my computer an instruction to add 2 plus 2, it will be processed and give me the desired output as 4. If I want to store it, then I will move the instruction towards the storage. But if I want to do some more calculation, so I am going to send my output 4 to the communication cycle, and after that 4 plus 5, and another input will be going towards the processor, so it will be 9. So this is the basic information life cycle diagram. Okay, the next thing is peripherals of a computer system. Now what does the word peripheral mean? Peripheral means is any external device that can be used as an input or output for a computer system. There can be many different peripheral devices, but they fall generally into 3 categories. Input devices such as a mouse and a keyboard, through which we input our data to the computer. Output devices, our examples are monitor and a printer. Storage devices such as hard drive or flash drive, USBs, memory cards, all such lies in the storage devices. Now the major components of a computer system. The computer system, the most important major component is called as the CPU. CPU is the central processing unit. The central processing unit, we call it as, it controls everything inside our computer. It has two basic parts. Number one is called as the CU, that is called as the control unit. The control unit is a component of a computer's central processing unit that directs operation of the processor. It tells the computer's memory, arithmetic, logic unit, and input and output devices how to respond to a program's instruction. Whatever instruction we provide to a computer, the control unit's task is to manage all those instructions, that which instruction needs to be performed at the first place and which needs to be performed at the last place. It is basically the main processor. It directs the operation of the processor. The next thing is ALU, the next part of the central processing unit, that is called as the arithmetic and logic unit. It represents the fundamental building block of the central processing unit of a computer. An ALU is a digital circuit used to perform arithmetic and logic operations. Now, what does the word mean by arithmetic? Arithmetic means the mathematical operations such as addition of numbers, subtraction, division, multiplication, power, modulus, integration, all such lies under the arithmetic operations. What about, and the last word, that is called as a logical operations. Now, what lies under the logical operations? Logical operations includes less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. All these operations lie under the logic operation. For example, we have to compare two numbers, 4 and 6. We need to compare that which one is greater. So this logic operations part of ALU is going to perform and tell us the desired output, that which number is greater and which number is smaller. So 6 is the greater number and 4 is the smaller number. The next main component of a computer system is called as the memory. Computer memory is any physical device capable of storing information temporarily or permanently. There are many types of memory devices. It can include, as they are basically temporary storage devices or permanent storage devices. In temporary storage devices, we store the data for a limited period of time, whereas in permanent storage device, we store it for as long as we want to store our data. We usually save all of our data in the permanent storage devices. For example, our photos, videos, documents, Word files, PDF files, all of these lie in the permanent storage device. Register. A register may hold an instruction, a storage address, or any kind of data such as a bit sequence or individual characters. Some instructions specify registers as part of the instruction. Basically, when we send an instruction to the computer, for example, if I write a letter or a name, Peshawar, all of these alphabets are going to be stored in some register, which means to have to store some instruction. It also stores a storage address. A storage address means that where our data is located. For example, if we say that we have 4 computer drives, C, D, E and F, in which drive the data currently that we are going to access and perform some processing on that data. So in which drive does that data is stored? So it is also a storage address. It stores the address of our data that is located at which place. The next key important thing is called as a motherboard. Why it is called as a motherboard? Because it is, as a mother, holds the access and control of everything inside a house and is responsible for all of its children and family cores. So a motherboard inside a computer is a printed circuit board containing the principal components of a computer or any other device, with connectors for other circuit boards to be slotted in. All the components of a computer system are connected directly or indirectly with the motherboard. Here we have is the processor unit. We are going to discuss, and I am going to show you in the practical lab class the details of all these. Third generation Intel Core processor. where we have a processor installed. Now, after that, we have SATA connectors. SATA connectors are used for the connection of a hard disk or a hard drive, we call it as. NVIDIA ports for graphic card installation. HD audio, that is the basically our speaker ports or microphone ports. We can attach our microphone or speakers, input or an output device. USB ports are used to install to connect the USB devices, which can include the mouse, keyboard, or any other USB peripheral devices. HDMI port or display port or HDMI port, VGA port, all these ports lies under that when we are to connect our system to an external monitor, it has to show our desired processing screen on some physical device. The next thing is RAM and ROM. RAM and ROM are basically memory types. ROM is called as the read-only memory. Is a form of a storage in computers and other electronics devices that cannot be easily altered or reprogrammed. ROM contains the information about the basic computer system. It contains the information about the motherboard model, the processor installed, the RAM type to be installed, the hard disk that has been installed. All these basic necessary instructions needed to run the computer, it contains all of those instructions. Whereas RAM is considered to referred as a volatile memory, and the data inside the RAM is lost when the power is turned off, whereas ROM is non-volatile and the contents are returned even if the power is switched off. Now, basic purpose and functionality of a RAM. Whenever we load or play or do any sort of task, for example, we are having some data, a video file in our hard disk. When we double click it, open it, the data is picked up from the hard disk and is loaded into the RAM memory. When it is loaded into the RAM memory, only then the processor can perform some necessary instructions and it can play the video. All of our data needs to be loaded into the RAM first for the processor to process it. As soon as our data's task is achieved, we close that application, the data from the RAM is vanished off. Or it can also vanish if the power is gone or a device has been shut down or we have restarted it. All the data inside the RAM is lost, is removed. So before shutting down the computer, we need to save our data on a hard disk, that is a permanent storage device, so that some of our important data should not be lost. This is a general picture of a RAM and ROM. We are going to discuss all of their types in the future as well. So, buses. A bus is a communication system that transfers the data between components inside a computer or between computers. So basically, what is a bus? Buses are responsible for sending the data from one device to the other device. For example, when we send our data by clicking the mouse buttons, our data is going towards the processor through the memory. All of this data needs to be carried out through the bus. Buses has several different types: address bus, control bus. Every bus has its own duty and responsibility. Inside a computer, this is what we call it as buses. In the motherboard here, as we can see it, all the printed and dotted lines inside on the motherboard or any circuit board, that is called as a bus. They are used to transfer the data from one component towards the other component. If we say that the display, that is the DVI-D port, HDMI port or a display port mentioned here, we have connected a monitor to this port. Now the data needs to travel from the processor and the RAM memory towards this port, so that it can travel from this port towards the monitor and show us the desired outputs on our screen. So the bus is responsible. It is a printed dotted lines on the circuit board that takes and travels all of the data towards the port, and then from port to the external device. And the next point that is written is or between computers. Between computers means that when we connect two different computers by the help of a LAN cable or an Ethernet cable, modem with the help of a modem, some sort of a Wi-Fi or a wireless device. So all of those lies in the buses. Storage devices. A storage device is any computing hardware that is used for storing, porting, and extracting data files and objects. It can hold and store information both temporarily and permanently, and can be internal or external to a computer, server, or any other similar computing device. Now, what is a storage device is? Computing hardware that is used for storing. Storing means that we need to save our data. That is the basic purpose of a storage device. Now, it can be an permanently storage or a temporary storage. In temporary storage, we can say the memory types of storage devices as RAM, registers, cache memory. All of these are temporary storage devices. Whereas when it comes to the permanent storage devices, we can say a floppy disk, a disk drive, CD, compact disk, DVD. Okay, we can say it as a hard disk, USBs, SD cards. All of these lies under the permanently storage devices. We can store our data for as long as we want to save it in our device. So it can be an internal or external to a computer. Now what does this mean? Internal means those devices that are fixed inside a computer system. It can be a hard disk, a RAM, a register, caches. So all of these are the internal. External means that which can be removed or are portable. We can take it and move it from one place to the other easily, like USBs, SD cards, external portable hard drives that are available these days. So this is basic idea of a storage device. The last topic for our today's lecture is basically the generations of computer. It is related to the history of a computer. That what was the first generation computers looked like, and what does it contain, or the second generation, third generation, fourth generation. I'm going to give all of these handout notes to you for your self-study. But the basic key idea in the first generation was they used the vacuum tubes. After the Second World War, they were built in 1945. They used the vacuum tubes. Their storage capacity and processing power was very much lower as compared to our today's computers. They produce large amount of heat. For that they required ACs, air conditioners, to make them cool and work efficiently. They were so large that several number of numerous huge rooms were used to build one single computer. By the time when the second generation computer, when transistors were developed, transistors made the computer size much smaller. With the help of a transistor, the computer's performance was also improved, the heat production was also reduced, and the memory was also increased to a bit extent. When the third generation integrated circuit in simple words we call it as an IC chip. One IC chip can contain thousands of transistors installed on that one chip. So it's improved the processing power by a lot more extent. And then comes the fourth generation, then it comes the fifth generation as well, the latest ones. But the main idea till the fourth generation was, and after that was the was the build and the function of a microprocessor. Microprocessor can contain thousands of ICs. Its production size was much smaller as compared to the previous versions. It produces less amount of heat, no air conditioners were required, only a cooling fan and a sink was needed. Its processing power was very much high. And the rest of the details will be shared with you, my dear students, in the form of handouts and notes. So this is our today's lecture. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the online class that we are going to have. Thank you.